All right, it says we are live. Hello, guys. It's Bart Johnson here, and once again, it is Saturday afternoon. Time for the live show. Time for me to spend some time hanging out with you guys. I am very sorry I haven't had a live show for the past 2 Saturdays, but life got kind of busy, got kind of crazy. I went and did a shoot in Albany, New York, and then a shoot in Dallas. But all that aside, I'm back now, and we are having another Saturday live show. And this week, we are checking out my finally complete, I call it complete, although we all know it'll never really be finished, YouTube studio. So if any of you guys have been following the channel for a while, first of all, thank you. But you're probably thinking, yeah, Bart, we've seen your studios. We've seen your plans for the studios. Get over, stop showing us your studio. This will be the last one for a while, I promise, because I think I've got this place pretty much set up the way that I like it, and I am ready to start shooting some content in here, because I have admittedly not been too good about putting out pre-edited content for the past couple of months. So this is going to be the space where we're going to be doing that, and I'm going to show you guys the gear, the lighting, the cameras, the setup, and everything that I've got going on in here. And maybe it'll give you some inspiration for setting up a studio in your house or your basement. That's where I am, is in my basement. So if it is your first time here, thank you. I'm glad you found the channel. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe and click that notification bell down there so that you can join me whenever I go live, which is once a week on Saturdays when I keep my schedule. So yeah, without further ado, guys, I guess we'll get right into it. I'm going to show you the space. Like I said, I'm going to show you some of the lighting. Obviously, I've got a light blinding you right now right here. And I'm going to show you the cameras, and I'm going to show you basically what the future of videos on this channel are going to look like. So this is sort of reverse order. You're going to get the behind the scenes before any actual content has been produced. So we can call this the first piece of content produced in this new studio space. So that's kind of cool. So I do have two other things before we dive in, guys. One is I now have the community tab on my YouTube channel. So you may see that on my channel. I don't know if it pops up below, but it'll allow me to notify you guys about things that aren't videos. So I can post polls, I can post photos, I can stay in touch with you guys even when I'm not putting videos out. So that's a really cool thing. So make sure you check that out. I've already had a poll on there and a few other things. And I just signed up. I am now an Amazon influencer. And what that means is that I have an Amazon storefront. So what I'm doing there is I'm building all sorts of lists of some of my favorite gear, some of the gear that I use and stuff like that. And you'll be able to go to that storefront, see those lists, check out that equipment, and then pick it up for yourself. Now, it doesn't cost you anything extra. It's just like purchasing it right through Amazon. The only difference is that I get a small affiliate percentage out of that. So it helps you, helps me, helps everybody. So I would appreciate you guys checking that out. There are links to that down below. And there is a list that includes the majority of the stuff that I'm going to be showing you guys here today. Let me make sure that I can see our comments. I have my iPad over here. I want to make sure that I can see any comments that are coming in, because of course the beauty of the live show is that we get to hang out and talk with each other. So let's see, where is the show? There it is. Top chat. Okay. Nothing in there yet, but I've got it open. So if you guys are in here and you have any questions along the way, please feel free to comment them, and they will appear in the chat, and I will be able to see them and answer your questions. So what do you say I stop standing here and talking and we start looking at some stuff, huh? So here we go. So let me flip this around here and show you guys. Let me come back here so you can get the full view. This, guys, is the finally finished studio space here in my basement. So you guys have probably seen the videos that I put out before with, in my old townhouse, I did a studio tour. There's a link to that video below. And then when we first moved into this house and this space was completely bare, I also did a video showing what my plans were for this space, and now it has come to be. So there's a link to that video down below too if you want to see the before and after. So let's start taking a peek at stuff, guys. So As you can see back here, I have all my utility stuff. These are all of my charging banks for all the batteries and all that stuff. But we obviously want to talk about this space and how it is set up. So I am planning on running a 3-camera setup. So first let's take a look at our A camera here. So our A camera here is my Ursa Mini 4.6K. I have it running a Rokinon 50mm lens here. It's a really nice focal length, gives me a really nice frame here. And I just have it set up on a tripod and pointing there into the studio. So this will be my A camera. This will be my main camera. Coming over to the side here, we have my B camera. This is my Panasonic GH5. Right now I have a lens that's not quite long enough. I want to be able to get a little bit tighter here. But right now it's rocking the 12 to 35 Lumix lens. But yeah, this is the B camera, and that is Panasonic GH5. It is recording in 4K because I do want to record everything in 4K, even though I put everything out at 1080. But you know. But of course, I said there are 3 cameras in this setup, so we're gonna take a quick peek at the third one, and it's up here, hidden up there on the ceiling. So let's go around and we'll take a peek at that. So this is gonna be easier to do it this way. Here we go, guys. So here we go. Here is the third camera. This is the overhead camera. This is a Panasonic G7. So the G7 is actually an amazing and sometimes overlooked little camera. Shoots 4K, and it's really affordable. They're actually super on sale right now, guys. I think it's like 500 bucks for the camera and a lens. So I picked up another one. I use one in my my live studio setup upstairs, and now this guy has joined us for the overhead shot right here. And so I have it mounted on a little plate, gave it a little stud, and then a grip head. And I found these awesome little, let's see if I can find one that's not used. Here we go, we got one over here. I found these awesome things on B&H that are little scissor stud mounts for drop ceilings. So it allows me to hang my lighting and all sorts of stuff. And of course I've got safety cables for where I need them and whatnot. And so I'm able to keep everything mounted up off of the floor, not taking up space with light stands, not having to worry about clutter. I can keep everything mounted to the ceiling, and it's really efficient, and I've so far been really, really happy with it. Let's see here. Got that thing a little wonky. So those are my 3 cameras that I'm running right now. Who knows, maybe I'll get crazy and add more in the future. But we have the A cam, the Ursa Mini, we have the B cam, the Panasonic GH5, and the C cam, the overhead shot with the Panasonic G7. So like I said, if you guys are interested in any of those cameras, there are links in that Amazon store storefront there, and you can go and check them out. Or of course, you guys know where to buy cameras. You can pick them up wherever you'd like. But yeah, the G7 I really feel like is an overlooked camera. It's no GH5, but it's 500 bucks for 4K. It's pretty good. It's on sale right now, so pick one up if you're interested. If you have a GH5 and you want a B cam for it, that's a great camera. But let's see here. Where shall we go next? I know where we should go next. We should go next to lighting. So let's come out here. All right, so obviously I've got quite a bit of lighting set up. Oh, look, Indy, my husky puppy, has joined us. He loves it down here. It's nice and cool down here. So I've got plenty of lights, and again, those lights are all mounted to the ceiling using those little scissor clamps for drop ceilings. Except for this one, I actually moved this one down and it's mounted to the wall. And then I've got some lights in the back as well. So let's go through these lights one by one. So the first light that I have here is an Aputure LS1C. It is their panel, LED panel. I absolutely love these lights. I have 3 of them, and they're just so versatile. I do have the bicolor because I usually take them out on shoots, and sometimes I'm in some mixed lighting environments. But yeah, I've got these guys all rigged up. Got the control boxes running there, and then they're all run into power because this room has more outlets than any room I've ever seen in the world. but that works out perfectly for this setup because I need power. Over to the other side. So sorry, this is my key light, which is why I have a little softbox on it. Sorry guys, they don't actually make this softbox anymore. I couldn't find it when I tried to order more, but it's a cheapo little one off of Amazon that just kind of slides on the front. Over here we have another LS1 panel. This is my fill light. So it is on, but it's dimmed down to like 12%. But it's here acting as my fill. So it'll just be blasting over here and giving a little fill to this side of me while the key is throwing most of the light right there. Again, this guy I have wall mounted to a stud. I love these little plates. This is an articulating one here. It allows me to mount it. Again, I don't like light stands being all over the place and taking up my floor space. So wall mounting that is a perfect idea. So then let's move over to here. Here we've got my overhead light. So I just recently picked this one up, guys. I was really interested in it. Let's come around to the other side. This is an LED light from Falcon Eyes. So this is it's like their 29 TDX or something like that. So it is a flexible light mat. So the light itself is actually really flat and is flexible. But it comes with this sort of softbox type setup. So I've got the softbox on there. And then I've also got the grid, which allows it to throw some nice soft light down here onto the workspace. So that gives us a really nice look on that overhead camera there. So it's mounted up there just for safety. What I did was I actually took 2 of those scissor things. So there's one down there and one down there. Attached grip heads to it and ran the bar in between. And then there's another grip knuckle that's on there that's holding this up. So this is actually mounted up in 2 points, allowing me to safely have it over my head here. So that's coming down, giving us a nice light right here. You can see their sort of inception effect here as I watch the feed. Moving right along. Background. Background needs to be lit. So what I have here is I have 2 of the Luxley Viola LED lights. There's another one right there. So I did a review of these lights. I did a live show where we took a look at it. So I'll put a link to that in the description down below. They are full RGB LED lights, so I'm not really using them to their full potential here because I just have them set up doing daylight. I might replace them with something like an Aputure F7 or something like that if I can get my hands on them, because they're not really being utilized for anything except, you know, background lighting. I guess I could do some cool color effects if I wanted to start messing with that, but for right now I just have them set to daylight. But we've got 2 of them mounted up here, again those little scissor mounts, and then I've got them plugged into power down there. So I don't have to worry about batteries. I do not want to worry about changing a million batteries on all the lights in here. So 2 of those throwing light onto my, my IKEA furniture in the background here. And then the last light that I have right now is this guy. Where is it? Man, this is hard backwards. Okay, so this guy. This is an Aputure Mini 20. This is the Mini 20C. It is the bicolor version. I have the 3-light kit and the 2 daylight models I use in my upstairs live stream studio. So the bicolor came down here. And what that light is doing, it's a great little hard light. What that's doing, if I step into place where I'll be standing, you can see it's giving me a little hair light and a little kicker. So it's focused right on me, and yeah, it gives me a little bit of separation from my background in the final shot. So that guy is up there. And I think that covers the lighting. I do have another one of these mounts up here next to it, right here, because my thought is I might put another one of these up here and blast it sort of next to me so that if I have products, I'll be getting some light. So let me show you what my thought process is on that. So while we're looking here, if I'm standing here in the middle, that light is giving me a nice little hair light. But if I have like a product here, like say a light that I'm reviewing and it's on a stand right next to me, I'd like to have another one coming to give a little bit of a kick to the product as well. But that's just me being really, really nitpicky. So, you know, not necessary, but you know, in all probability, I'll probably pick one up in the future to do that setup. So sticking in the back of the room, let's take a look at the background. I know you've seen it fleetingly here. Indy's checking out the background as well. So this brick wall is not actually a brick wall at all. It is a fabric backdrop. I believe it's a 10 by 10 fabric backdrop that I got off of Amazon. And on camera, man, this thing reads like a brick wall perfectly. So I just got this this bar meant for curtains, a really long curtain rod basically, and stretched it across and hung this guy in place. And it looks great. Oh, and I actually forgot a light down here. So down here, throwing some background lighting. Hello, Indy. I have the Aputure Tri-8C, again, bicolor. I really love bicolor lights. But this is throwing some kick onto the background there and just really kind of livens up the shot because it is kind of dark without it. So taking a peek here, obviously you can see I've done some set decoration here in the background. So I have my old drone, the Phantom 1, still works, but obviously I have moved on to bigger and better drones since then. I have this little recording light that I got on eBay, pretty cheap, and it's got an LED strip in it, so that's lighting it up. Down here I have actual canisters of film. These actually have the reels of film from my my senior college thesis film at film school, Savannah College of Art and Design. So yes, there is a real film in there. Then down below, of course, I just have a slate, and move on over here. This is one of the first lights that I bought when I was getting started. It looks like an ARRI 650, but it is a Chinese knockoff. I will fully admit that I was cheap, and it kept blowing bulbs, so it doesn't really work. So it is up here as set decoration because, hey, it looks cool. Moving down, we have these two lenses, which again are deceptive because they're not actually lenses. I know you guys have seen these before. They're mugs, but you know, they look like lenses, so they're there in the background. And I need to find something to fill in this space right here. So if any of you guys have any suggestions for something that should go into that space right there, let me know what I should put in there. Or maybe if you watch the channel, I'll have stuff, I'll try stuff out and move stuff. What is it, Indy? Indy's here with me. He doesn't realize who I'm talking to. So, but yeah. Last thing I want to show you guys in here is that I do have these little LED pucks. So there are 4 on each of the shelves. I've run all the cabling around the back, and I can adjust and change the colors of these. I just thought they'd give a nice little accent to it. So you can see I've run all the cabling down the back. And if you're interested in those pucks, I did add those to that Amazon store as well. So you can go in there and check that out. Let me see here. Looks like we got some comments coming in. Let me angle my camera a little bit so I can see here while we're checking. All right, my wife says, what is that, a puppy? Yeah, a heart face and a puppy, yeah. Yes, Indy's having a fun time down here exploring. And Luke says, would you advise the GH5 is good for most video applications, or would the GH5S be more flexible? I do corporate shoots. So I have never used the GH5S. I just have the GH5. It depends on what you're shooting. I know you're probably sick of hearing it depends, it depends. I would say that the GH5 is more flexible in terms of run and gun shooting because it has the in-body stabilization. So you can shoot quicker, you're gonna get better looking, more stable shots, and so it's more versatile in that aspect. However, the GH5S is more versatile in different lighting conditions. Because it's so sensitive and has that dual ISO, it means that if you walk into a situation that's not lit or the lighting's very dim and it's low light, it's gonna be able to pull it off, while the GH5 is not gonna look as good. So in terms of Physical versatility, meaning running around and shooting quick, getting in and out, GH5. But in terms of lighting versatility, GH5S. If you're shooting corporate stuff, my guess is you probably have some sort of small light kit that you're bringing with you. And so I'd probably lean towards the GH5. I shoot a lot of corporate stuff on the GH5, and it is a dream to work with. I'm able to move really quickly, and there you go. So thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. I wonder how I can pull those things up on here. Let me see. Click. Live chat. We'll see if it pops up. But anyway, I've got it on here, so there we go. Okay, so let's take a look at my desk setup and how I'm gonna sort of work in this environment here now. Let me get the iPad here. Okay, so Luke says, I see, what glass would you put on the GH5 that could work with the Ursa Mini Pro and A7S II or A7 III? So when I'm doing corporate stuff, just real quick running gun, I use the Panasonic 12-35 on the GH5 because it acts like a 24-70, which is a decent focal range. You know, it's not long enough for some things, not wide enough for some things, but for majority of everything, it's a great focal length. So I use that, but I did recently do a shoot with my Ursa Mini 4.6 with the GH5 as a B cam, and I used my Rokinon Cinema Primes on them. With a Metabones, goodness gracious, Metabones speed booster on the GH5 to allow me to put my EF mount glass on there. So I had the 35mm Rokinon Cine DS on the GH5, and I had the 50mm Rokinon Cine DS on the Ursa Mini, and the shoot came out great. I mean, the footage looks phenomenal. I'm working on editing it right now, but I'm real happy with the way it came out. So just playing with that light behind my head. Sorry guys. Quick drink of water, and now we'll continue on here. Okay. So let's take a look from my point of view when I'm going to be using this setup. Gink. All right, guys. So I will be standing back here, obviously, when I'm making videos for all you lovely, lovely people out there. So this desk I actually made. So this is a workbench top from a local supply place. It's called Floor and Decor. Thank you to my wife for knowing that place and finding this for me. And so I picked it up, sanded it, stained it. It's fantastic. It's walnut and whatnot. It's great. And then I got the steel hairpin legs and bolted them to the bottom there. And these I actually got off of Amazon, and there is a link for them in that store down below. So that's my work table, and I have this little IKEA cart here with all of my remotes for all the devices, remote start stop for the Ursa Mini over there, for the lights, for the Aputure lights, Apple TV, the TV, I'll show you that in a second, all sorts of stuff. So all that's right there. So all the stuff that I would need to grab real quick is right here. And what I've done is I have a tape marker here. This is my center. So when I'm right there, when my belly button is right there, I am in line, I'm right in the center of the frame, I'm right where I need to be. So that helps me know that. And what this actually is another piece of tape here. This is the edge of my frame for my overhead shot. And the reason I had to do that is because we have this door here. So I can't actually center the table in the room. Otherwise the door won't open. So I have to shift it a little bit over this way. So this lets me know that this right here is the edge of my frame. So anything here is out. So it's just a little cheat guideline for me. Obviously I have a case sitting on here right now just as a demo. So this will give you an idea of what things will look like when I'm talking about them on here. But let's talk about this. I am really, really happy about this because I did not want to have like a million little monitors mounted here. One, because they'd be in the shot, and two, because I don't want to set up that many monitors. So I got this awesome quad HDMI viewing display over here. So let's take a look at that. So as you can see, I'm leaning across it, but all of my cameras are feeding into that via HDMI. I have a little box here, which is an HDMI quad viewer, and feeding into this 49-inch TV that I got on Amazon. I got it for like 300 bucks. It's a company called like TCL, Roku. I wasn't sure whether to trust them or not, but I saw some really good reviews, picked it up, and I am pretty darn happy with it. So here's my GH5. It has an HDMI cable running up to the ceiling and running along and going so that it taps into that. Same thing with my G7 here. HDMI coming out of it. Make sure I don't step on the dog. Running all the way along and coming down the back. Now, the Ursa Mini is a bit trickier because, as you guys may know, Ursa Mini does not have HDMI. It only has SDI out. So what I've done is I have the SDI coming out of here. This is 1080 out from the front one, even though I'm shooting in 4K, because this box can't handle 4K. So I take the 1080 out, coming down, and I gotta sneak in there, and I have it running into this little converter box. This is a Blackmagic design SDI to HDMI converter. So the SDI comes in, converted plain and simple to HDMI, and goes right into my box. So let me show you guys this box. Okay, so this is my HDMI quad viewer box, guys. So I have 4 inputs and 1 output. The output is obviously going up to the TV. But the other 4 inputs are my cameras. So I have, the Ursa Mini, the GH5, and the G7 all running into this. And then just for fun, I have an Apple TV because that way I can keep myself entertained while I'm down here. Let me crawl out of this space and show you guys what I've got going on here. So yeah, so here's the TV. Let me get out of the shot. So here's the TV, and here's how it's kind of set up. So right now, obviously, I only have 3 cameras going to it, but I have all 3 of those inputs in real time. So it's mainly for framing. It's not going to be for checking focus. It is still pretty far away from me, but it means that I can see my frame. I can see myself here in the A cam. I can see everything that's going on through all of my angles at once. And so that is all coming through that box right there. Now this box also does have a remote, and so you don't have to be in quad view at all times. So let's go ahead, let me grab the remote here, right here, pretty cool. Let me flip the camera around and I'll show you guys what I got going on. So if we're looking at the TV there you go, you can see all my different angles. Here's my GH5, Ursa Mini, and my overhead right there. Pretty cool. But yeah, so I can switch with this remote which ones I want to take full screen if it decides to cooperate today. So there we go. Now we've got the A camera full screen, camera 2 full screen, camera 3 full screen, and 4, which is the Apple TV, but it's not turned on right now, so there we go. And then we hit a button and we go right back to quad view. It also has ways to mix all these together, but it ends up like squishing certain ones in weird ways. Here, I'll show you guys. Like that, like I don't want that. It's all squished. Like who would do that? So I just keep it in the pure quad view right there. And now I can see what I'm doing and I can see what I look like on camera. So yeah, there we go. That was the latest thing that I just got set up because I really needed a way to monitor myself, and I really didn't want to set up a ton of different little monitors to do it. So unfortunately, each of the cameras are recording internally. So they're each having to record to their SD cards. And then I'll collect them all after a shoot and dump it. I would love to have something like an Atomos Sumo, where it can record 4 inputs at once, and then you just pop out the 1 hard drive and it has all of the inputs on it yet. But I don't think I'm going to be investing in one of those right away. This is good enough for now. It's enough to get stuff done. And really, it's just being nitpicky for me to be like, I don't want to record to 3 different sources. Come on, you know? It's fine. Oh, last thing. This, not the light, this. So you guys have, if you've watched the channel for a while, you know that some of my biggest things are doing really in-depth lighting reviews. I did stuff like the Aputure 300D. You can check that out down below. That was a really big test one. And so I wanted to be able to test the lights, you know, their beam angle, their color, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to do it on a fake brick backdrop. So what I did was I got this. This is a roll of 18% gray vinyl. It's from Savage. It is a photo backdrop grade. And so it is rolled up here. And I have a bar. So I mounted these and I literally put a bar onto the end of them and ran it across. And so this thing is able to be rolled up or rolled down. And so when it rolls down, it covers up all of this backdrop, and I have a perfect gray background right behind me here, which means that I can move my table out of the way, and then I can, you know, set lights here, and I can point them at it, and we can see the beam angle, the spread, any, you know, color fringing or anything like that. So this is gonna allow me to really be versatile in this space, so it can be a set, and it can also be a testing facility, if you will. Looks like we had some comments come in, so I'm gonna pull those up real quick. Let me set this camera down here. All right, we're coming back in. Sorry about that light blinding you guys. I guess I could turn it off, couldn't I? Let me do that real quick for you. Oh, now I don't have a kicker light. That's all good. All right, let's see what we got here. Luke says, could you show us your color chart? I think you're probably talking about the focus chart that I have on the wall. I will show you that, but I also do have a color chart, so I'll show you that too. And let's see here. Trevor, good to see you, man. It's been a while. Mostly my fault because it's been 2 or 3 weeks since I've had a show, so bad on me, but good to see you. Who wouldn't love a sumo? Yeah, I know, right? I don't know if it can record 4 4K inputs at once. I think it records 4 1080s, but I'd love to have 4 4Ks. So I don't know if anything like that exists at the moment. We'll see. Trevor says, dude, how tall are you? You're just touching the ceiling like that. I am 6 foot. So this is probably a 7-foot ceiling down here. So I'm not super tall, but it's not a super high ceiling. I am down in the basement. So it's kind of low. But yeah, I mean, I can touching it. So yeah, no, I'm not super tall or anything like that. I'm average sized. Luke says much better. Oh yeah, with the light turning off. Yeah, sorry about that. I guess I could have shut that off after I showed it to you guys, but whoops, live and learn. But Luke, you were asking about color charts. So let me pull that up real quick. First, I'm gonna start with the one that you probably weren't talking about. So hold on. I like that. I can just like dip out and pop out. So I do have a color chart. So I really don't use it that much, but I do have it. This is the X-Rite Color Checker Classic. And so, you know, color chart that I can use for testing different cameras to see, you know, if the sensors have any color shift or anything like that. So I do have a color chart that I use in the studio. This is not yet on that Amazon list, but good note, I'll put this on there. But the one that you probably are referring to and that I was talking about, as I pop out of frame, you were probably talking about this guy. So this is a focus chart. And normally these things are super, super expensive because they are precision printed. Yeah, basically these lines have to be super clean, and they use them to test lenses, to test resolution and all that kind of stuff by, you know, zooming in, focusing a lens on it and doing all that. But I wanted one, but I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money. So what I did was I found one, a PDF file of one online, and I had FedEx Office print it on foam core and laminate it, and I stuck it up on my wall. So it's, you know, not scientifically accurate. You know, I wouldn't be doing any like really, really intense testing with it. But it is good enough because actually, if we take a peek at this thing, I mean, those lines are pretty darn fine for being a FedEx print job. So yeah, I have it stuck here on the wall, and yeah, just had it printed myself. You know, save money where you can. I didn't want to spend, I mean, these things are like hundreds of dollars for the actual charts that are legit, because they have to meet the standards and the qualifications and all that kind of stuff. So it makes sense. But I wasn't going to pay that, so FedEx printed one. So there we go. Let's see, we got a couple more comments in here. Let's see here. Luke says, I'm 6'5" and touch drop ceilings all the time. There you go. Yeah, like I said, this is only about a 7-foot ceiling, so it's not a huge ceiling space, but I'm actually glad because it is close. It's high enough that all these lights and everything stay out of my frame easily, but it's low enough that I can get up there and just reach up and manage cables and mount stuff and get stuff down without really the need for a step stool. So it's a good height. I like it. We lucked out with this basement space, and I have definitely made it my own domain. So there we go. And so Luke says, have you done a video on color charts before? No, I have not done a video on color charts. Maybe I should look into that. If that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know down in the comments below. I'll have to make sure I know enough about color charts to do an accurate and interesting video on color charts for you guys. But if that's something you'd like, yeah, I could totally do a video on color charts, how to use them, and maybe even on the focus chart, my counterfeit focus chart over there. So let's see what else we got here. Water. Trevor says, my basement ceilings are 8 foot. Finishing off my basement is my next project. Yeah, so finishing this basement was like my first project because I had wanted it for so long. After shooting for years in my tiny office in my in our townhouse when we bought this place, my wife will attest to this. I immediately set up my editing suite upstairs and set up the basement. It was like the rest of the house, I don't care. Luckily, now that this is complete, you know, I can start putting my efforts and energy into other parts of the house. We have been doing a lot of work on the house overall. You know, I haven't just been cooped up down here. But yeah, I mean, this is my space, man. This is my man cave / studio. Even though when my friends are like, oh, you got a man cave, they come down here and check it out and they're like, where's all the cool stuff? I'm like, this is the cool stuff. We just have different ideas of what cool stuff is. So there we go. All right. Trevor says, nope, your grill was your first project. Yeah, that's true too. I did set up the smokers outside. So yeah, computer stuff, camera stuff, and cooking stuff were my top 3. And now I've got them complete. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see if there's anything else I forgot about here. I don't think so. So that's a pretty complete tour, guys, of the space. It has taken me months to get it all set up the way that I like it, and I am ready to start shooting in it because I really need to start getting some more pre-produced content out onto the channel. I have stuff sitting here that I need to review. I've got a huge RGB light that I need to review. I've got an LED panel that I need to review. I have a slider that I need to review. I'm sure I'm forgetting something else. I'm sure people would like a review of the Falcon Eyes light up here, so I need to do some testing with that. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me, but that means that you guys get the benefit of knowing that there's some cool content coming to the channel. Make sure you're subscribed so that you get to check all of that out. I really can't wait to start using this space. One thing I will let you guys know, I sort of hinted about this in the community tab. I'm going to be starting a series on here called What's in the Box. And what that is it's basically for OCD people who like really well packed and organized gear kits. So I am one of those. All of my equipment goes into kits, Pelican cases, whatever. And so it's going to be a series where I show off those kits, show you what's in them, show you all the components and all the accessories that I have in those kits. And then I'm also open to viewer submissions. So if you have a really cool kit that you'd like to send me photos or video of and have it featured on one of the episodes, I have a submission form down below. I'll make sure that it's in there. But yeah, it's called What's in the Box, and I'll put that down there. And check on the community tab of my page as well, because I do have a link to the submission form there. But if you have some pretty and envious kits out there, I want to see them and I want to show them off. So that's something that's coming on the channel. That'll be pretty cool. Let's see what we got here. Trevor says, question, do you think LED panels are pushing out big monoblock lights? I'm starting to see them everywhere out in the wild. So LED panels pushing out monoblock lights. I don't know. I have actually, for my on location shooting, I actually don't take my panels with me as much as I used to. And I've started taking the Aputure single source lights. So we just went and did a shoot where we did some interview stuff in Dallas, Texas. And I brought the Aputure 300D, the Aputure 120D, and 2 of the Mini 20s. And it looked beautiful. I just love single source lighting. I came from old, Hollywood tungsten lighting, Fresnels. And so being able to work like that again and really control your light, or panels just sort of blast it all over the place, I really, really enjoyed that. And so while the panels are fantastic for this studio environment that I have right here, I really am trying to switch over to taking those single source hard lights, if you will, on travel shoots with me, because they're just fantastic what you can do with the lights. You can have them be hard, you can cut them, you can angle them, you can shape them, you can soften them, you can focus them. Panels, yeah, you can do some of that, but you're never going to get as much fine control. I know that's absolutely not what your question was, but that's the answer that I have. So there we go. Trevor followed up and says, they pack down super small and you still get good output. So I think people are really digging them for travel. Yeah, LED, you can't beat it. You think about it, I mean, the panels are so slim now. Like the Aputure LS1 panels are like that thick. And part of that's because the control box is separate. But I mean, think about the first 1x1s back when like light panels came out with 1x1s. I mean, they were thick lights. I mean, there was a lot in there, to handle that output and dissipate the heat and whatnot. And the technology has come really far in just the past few years. And now we have these lights like this this Falcon Eyes here, where it literally is just, it's a roll of like fabric with LEDs on it. So it's a flexible mat. And all of this is just extra bulk that I put on there, to focus it. But the light itself is just a slim little piece. So the flexibility of that, quite literally, means that, yeah, you can roll that thing up and toss it in your suitcase and you've got a big light going with you. And yeah, portability, you can't beat that. That's awesome. All right. Okay, so we're done on the comments right there. Cool. Let me set the iPad down, get a drink of water. All right. So I think we have covered everything in this space, guys. I hope you found this interesting. I promise to stop doing tour my studio videos because they're such a cop-out. I've been so busy that I was struggling to come up with a topic for this week, admittedly, and then the light bulb went off and I was like, oh, let's tour the studio. So the studio is complete, so you are gonna see videos coming out very soon of me standing here with that brick backdrop behind me and lots of cool gadgets and goodies and stuff to review and what's in the box series and all that kind of stuff. So this is gonna be a working studio right away. It's ready to go. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me live. Those of you who were in here commenting, I appreciate it. I love hanging out with you guys and spending some time with you on Saturday. But it is a gorgeous Saturday outside, so I am going to make my way outside and go play with the dogs. And so I will let Indy go ahead and and say goodbye for us this week. So before I disappear, make sure you subscribe, guys, if you haven't subscribed already. Give this video a like if you liked it, and make sure you check out that Amazon storefront that I've got going up. There's a link in the description, because I'm going to be putting a lot of cool stuff on there. It helps you to see the stuff that I use, the stuff that I recommend, and if you buy something from it, it helps me out a little bit. So that's always nice. Win-win situation. So in order to end this week's show, guys, we are going to let Mr. Indy take it away. And I won't have a show next week because I'm going to be in Orlando for work, not going to Disney World or anything. Going to Orlando for work. So we'll be back on the 30th. Just had to get that in there. Okay. Indy, do you want to say goodbye to everybody? Indy, say goodbye. All right, everybody. I will see you in 2 weeks. You guys take care.